What's up, everybody? So I thought we had a pretty tame boxing weekend this weekend, but we did have some very good storylines, and we're going to start it out with Alicia Baumgardner. Alicia Baumgardner fought Christina Leonardo, and she had lost to her earlier. That was her only loss on her record, and she was able to avenge that loss in impressive fashion. You can really see how much Baumgardner has improved over the years, especially since their last fight that was like in 2018. She was a completely different fighter. She still was throwing firepower, but she was taking a little steam off some of those punches. She wasn't just throwing hard. And I thought she was measured. She was switching stances. She was just a better overall fighter than she was back then. And Christina Leonardo too, she tried to apply pressure. She was constantly coming at her, trying to force the action. But Baumgardner was consistently in control. Even when she was on the back foot, she was always in control. She lost 2 rounds on the scorecards. One judge had her losing 1 round or 2 rounds. One judge had her losing no rounds, and another judge had Leonardo winning 3 rounds. So that's what it was looking like on the scorecards. But it was a thorough win for Alicia Baumgardner, who hurt Leonardo multiple times. So really what we got to talk about now is she's avenged that loss. What is next? So next for Alicia Baumgardner, I think it's time for either a Delphine Persoon, because that's going to be a mandatory. So a Delphine Persoon, and if not a Delphine Persoon, it needs to be a big fight. It needs to be a Katie Taylor and an Amanda Serrano fight, or even a Chantel Cameron fight. Now we know Taylor's going to be fighting Cameron, so that really leaves Amanda Serrano, who's fighting on the Jake Paul card next on August 5th. So I would love to see the Serrano fight. I really would like to see the Taylor fight, but it seems like the way things are lining up, the Serrano fight would make more sense. So we'll see what Alicia Baumgardner has next, but she showed out, she showed well, and she looked great. I just worry about her tank. That's the one thing I worry about with Alicia Baumgardner, and we'll just have to see how that goes when she faces different opposition that's not only skilled, but also can apply the pressure, like a Katie Taylor. But congrats to her, and on to the next. Number 2, Frank Martin was tested by Haratunian. Haratunian, I had never seen this fighter before. I'm not going to pretend like I have. He's only fought in Germany up until this fight with Frank Martin, and Frank Martin was having some trouble, and he didn't really look like the Frank Martin I had seen previously. And that's the thing about fighters. You never know what you're going to get in a fight. You never know how you're going to feel on that night. So Frank Martin admitted after the fight it was an off night for him, but I don't want to discredit Haratunian. Haratunian was placing some very good shots on Frank Martin, whether it was the straight right, whether it was that right to the body when Frank Martin thought he was going to come up top with a straight right. So very impressive performance by Haratunian. I almost wonder if that was like his Super Bowl. That felt like his Super Bowl. He put everything into it. He's 32 years old. We'll see what he got coming up. But as far as Frank Martin is concerned, he's now 18-0 with 12 knockouts, and the sky's the limit still. On an off night, he still got the victory, even though it was a very close fight on the scorecards. It was not a robbery. Frank Martin won the fight. But I really am going to focus on what's going to be next for him. Is it going to be a big fight? And I think the optimum fight for him next is Isaac Cruz. If Isaac Cruz versus Frank Martin, instead of Isaac Cruz just fighting whoever and then going into a Tank Davis fight, because you're just trying to make money, I think there, because I don't see Isaac Cruz beating Tank Davis. But I would like to see Frank Martin fight Isaac Cruz, and the winner take on Tank from there. I think that's the way to work it. And that would be a great build-up to see if Frank Martin can beat Isaac Cruz and maybe even beat him in even a better fashion. Or if Isaac Cruz beats Frank Martin, that's still something you can say is Isaac Cruz has improved to the point where it makes that Tank Davis fight, the second Tank Davis fight, look better, be better. Well, I think, in my opinion. But great victory I wouldn't say great victory, but it was a victory for Frank Martin. And I wish him success going forward. We'll just see what he has coming up next. Number 3, so there was a lot of talk about Andy Cruz and his debut as a professional. So we all know he faced Keyshawn Davis 4 times in the amateurs. He beat him all 4 times. And I was very curious how he was going to be on the pro level, and he looked good. And that's what I even put it on my Twitter. I said, look, he wasn't dazzling, but he was very, very good. And you can see his skills, the way he was moving to the side and getting his shots off. And he was doing it based off Burgos. Like, I could see him adapting to what Burgos was trying to do, and Burgos really couldn't do anything with him. Now, the question is, he didn't have anything to really keep Burgos off of him. It looks like there wasn't much pop, as Keith Thurman would say, on the shots. But I definitely thought he was just too skilled. He was just way too skilled. And you got to think, even though Keyshawn Davis beat Burgos, that was like his 7th fight. This was Andy Cruz's first pro fight, and he made it look easy. He made it look so easy. So imagine what he's going to look with his trainer, Bozy Ennis. Imagine what he's going to look like in about 4 or 5 fights, or maybe his 7th fight. If he was fighting Burgos on his 7th fight, it's going to be a completely different fighter. So Andy Cruz looks like he's the goods, but we just got to keep seeing him progress, especially in professional ranks underneath his trainer. But I can't wait. I'm excited to see the journey and see how far he can go because the skills are there. So number 4, Josh Kelly is hunting titles at 154, hoping that Jermell Charlo drops one. He mentioned Tim Tszyu after the fight, but he defeated Corzo in this one, and it was kind of underwhelming. It was underwhelming mainly because Corzo really didn't come to fight. Corzo was on the back foot. He was a counterpuncher on the night, and it made for a snoozer of a fight. It really made for a snoozer of a fight. But Josh Kelly handled his business. He's still quick. He's still fast. He's still flashy. You know, even after that loss to Avenges. But that's his style. That's his style. And I still want to see what he looks like and how much he improves when he actually goes against a better fighter. But I think we're going to see it soon because he's number 2 in the WBO. So he's going to get that shot maybe as soon as Charlo fights for Undisputed at 168. Does anyone believe that Charlo's going to drop back down to 154? No, not going to happen. So the belts will be displaced, and you never know, we might get Josh Kelly against Tim Tszyu for the belt, but I doubt it. But congrats to Josh Kelly. He got the job done. He maintained his ranking, and he maintained his spot for a title probably in 2024. I could definitely see that coming. Go on to the next. Number 5, so Chloe Watson looks like a future champion at flyweight. She's progressing nicely. She made easy work of her opponent, and I think she's going to be going for the European title next. Now, Chloe Watson, she displays great skill, has very good speed. I like the way she cuts off the ring on her opponent, if she wants to, you know, but this fighter didn't, or her opponent didn't offer too much resistance. So it's just, once again, it's one of those situations we're just going to have to wait and see what happens when she reaches the championship level. I already think her against Marlena Esparza would be one heck of a fight. Now, Esparza can box, so I think maybe a couple more fights before Chloe Watson can take on Esparza. Maybe a couple more. But it's not like I feel like Esparza is more talented than Chloe Watson, because I'm not quite sure about that. I'm not quite sure. But it's just the experience. I think Chloe Watson just needs more experience, and through that experience, she will be a champion. She will be a champion. Just give her time. She's only 23 years old. I expect her to be a champion by the time she's 25, 26, 100%. And that all depends on how Wasserman moves her. If they move her quickly, then we can see her there. But I think you're going to see her there. So congrats to Chloe Watson, EBU next, and then it's on for world titles after that. But that's all I have on this week's Top 5 Under 5. Until next week, peace.